the Human Science and Research Council Centre for Science, Technology and Innovation Indicators is inviting the media to take part in a conversation about how to go about putting together a business innovation survey to determine the types of innovations that are coming out of the country and how they are impacting technology and job creation. The question we are asking is whether South Africa is keeping up with the pace of innovation, which is happening globally. Glenda Kruss, who is the head of CesTII, I'm not too sure, we'll ask her if I've got that abbreviation right, at the HSRC, and she joins us from our Seapoint studio. Good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Leanne. I'll just set you right. It's CesTII. We call it CesTII, the Centre for Science, Technology and Innovation.
So it's CesTII, that's how I say it.
Correct.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. So there are indicators for innovation. What are they? What should we look for?
Well, Leanne, you know, we're living in a world where we need new solutions, and we've just had somebody on with the Joomla innovation, and we are seeing digital disruption across the world in all economic sectors. And we had the World Economic Forum meeting here in May, and they've stressed that for African countries, this is absolutely important. And there's huge potential in new technologies such as artificial intelligence is the one that comes to mind, but various forms of automation, big data, new kinds of technology, advanced manufacturing. And what we need to know in South Africa is, are our firms also promoting those kinds of innovation, and how can we not be left behind? And that is why we are working with the Department of Science and Technology to conduct a survey of the kinds of innovation that firms are currently doing.
Mm-hmm. So what is the purpose of the survey, and what inputs can the media actually make?
Well, the survey is of firms across all sectors in manufacturing and services. So we look at 13 subsectors, and we look at all firms, whether they're small or large. And importantly, we're looking at firms whether they are innovating or whether they're not innovating. Because if firms are not innovating, we need to understand why, what are the barriers, and that's one of the aspects that our survey determines, which can then be used to inform the kinds of policy interventions and incentive mechanisms that the Department of Science and Technology can develop. And where firms say they are innovating, we want to understand what kind of innovation are they talking about. Mm-hmm. So is it something that's new to the world and cutting edge digital type innovation, new products and processes? Or is it new kinds of process innovation that's only new to the firm but's going to enhance productivity, create more jobs, and contribute to competitiveness and inclusive development in South Africa?
Yeah. This data, why is it so important?
It's very important because, you know, as Kofi Annan once said, without data is like driving without a dashboard.
Yeah.
So for the Department of Science and Technology, they invest a lot of money to promote innovation and into research and development that can lead to commercialization and intellectual property that can lead to new kinds of firms like this Joomla we've just seen previously to me. So we need that data so that we can target our policy interventions more effectively. So if we're not doing the kinds of innovation that we need that are aligned with our economic development strategies and finding new ways of doing things and new solutions in South Africa, then we need to rethink our policy interventions so that they can have better effect. And that's why the Department of Science and Technology wants this data. But equally, it's important for industry itself, because we have industry associations and they're working in the interests of all the firms in their sector. And they can use this kind of data to promote innovation and to put support mechanisms, whether it's in relation to skills or R&D or design or organizational or marketing aspects of innovation.
Yeah. You know, we sort of see the discussion, and I know that we're putting a couple of details on the screen as we're speaking as well. There's a discussion and it's hashtagged research matters. What is the value of research and innovation?
Research on innovation or research and innovation?
I suppose we have to separate them, or do you add them together, research and innovation? I mean, it's a big topic.
Yes, well, we also measure how much research and development the country is doing, whether that's in firms, higher education, science councils, government, the non-profit sector. And that's important because it tells us the potential we have for innovation. Now, if you take a simple definition of innovation, that we're introducing new products or processes into the market, then you can see how important innovation is for us to grow, whether it's growing production, growing jobs, growing new sectors with new kinds of knowledge like digital technologies and so on. And we need the research in the national system of innovation so that we have the potential to feed firms, universities, startup companies and so on to innovate at the cutting edge. But equally, we need our firms to be innovating constantly, not only cutting edge, but it might be new to the sector or new to firms in South Africa that are being used by firms all over the world.
Well, I think it's fascinating. Just finally, as you wrap it up for us, if you could very quickly just talk about today's events and the focus. Is it only on South Africa?
Yes, today we're going to be sharing how we're going to roll out the survey. And it's very important that we have widespread participation from firms. We've drawn a sample of 5,000 firms with assistance of Statistics Stats South Africa, which is representative of the key sectors within the survey in manufacturing and services. And we are going to be rolling out the survey from the month of September. So today we're going to be sharing some of the points I've made to you about why it's so important, what the purpose of the survey is, and how we're going to go about it. And we really are urging participation from all firms if they receive our paper survey, if they receive our electronic survey, if one of our research assistants calls them, that they should take this very seriously because it will contribute will and should contribute to the economic debate in South Africa.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so very, very much for talking to us. That was Dr. Glenda Kruss, and she is, of course, talking to us from the Research Council Centre for Science, Technology and Innovation Indicators in our Cape Town studio. So if you are interested in attending these digital and technological masterclasses at the Sandton Convention Centre, the good news is that they are free for everybody who wants to attend it. So that should be very, very interesting. And also the big news coming out today is that the 12 names that were recommended by the National Assembly for the board of the SABC should be finalised and handed over to the President. So by the end of this week, by Friday, we should find out who the new board of the SABC is.